Over the last 10 years, roughly, I've seen a slow uptick of rhetoric concerning societal collapse. And it seems like it just continues to grow. And it comes from prepping channels. And I think that it really does a disservice to some degree that just to focus just on extreme situations, because we have the majority of issues that could happen and do happen that aren't being discussed. And prepping is a full echelon of types of scenarios and planning. And it's not just about extreme examples of societal collapse. I mean, I do admit that it could happen. And I think that it's probably most likely from an EMP attack and or economic collapse. But typically societal collapses happen over time. It could be many years or decades. This is something that when we talk about why are people doing this? Well, for one, it gets attention and you can get a lot of views on YouTube when you talk about extreme things. I think also these preppers are getting bored with prepping. And so they have a new reason why to prep because they have these extreme examples. Now, some of them do this more on an entertainment value. They actually are pretty funny people and they're very likable people. And I'm sure that they're prepared for a lot of things that are of a higher occurrence, in everyday life, like house fires, loss of employment, stock market collapse, health things. But when we talk about health, though, a lot of these individuals that have a lot of ideology and philosophy about what you should do, where you should go, which is a big one right now, where do you bug out at? And what kind of things do you bring with you? And how can you survive for years, if not decades, in your bug out bag, it's just like, why are we talking about this? But these individuals, going back to health, are some of the most unhealthy people. And so it's like, wow, it's really hard to take you serious. So these individuals are trying to spill out, so-called advice, but they're not even taking their own advice. And so I think that when we look at this, the drudge of relentless societal collapse rhetoric, we have to come to terms of what the motivation is and what is the likelihood. And so for entertainment value only, I listen to some of this off and on when I have a spare moment, but that's only after I do everything else and watch all the other channels that I like. And so I think we have to be mindful that these things do happen and they have happened, even recently in some other countries. But I think we'd be better served to focus on our essentials, and the more higher currents threats that pose, hardship against our survival. And so let's maybe pull back from the extremes and look at the common sense reasons of why we prep.